Ladies and gentlemen, Milwaukee 250, the Snap-on Milwaukee 250, whatever they're calling it, literally just ended I think 13 minutes ago, or that's very Pacific, but I think 15, 13 minutes ago. And oh my gosh, I am just need to calm down. I was screaming so loud those last 30 laps. Absolutely insane finish. Christian Rasmussen for Ed Carpenter Racing gets a win. That is insane. I'm not going to lie. It is insane. I mean, he's won a race before David Malukas has won. He's won a race before Santino Ferrucci's won. He's won a race before Marcus Armstrong's won. Who else has he beaten to win? He's beaten... I'm just looking down the order. He beat Connor Daly to win. He's beaten Louis Foster, Robert Schwartzman, Kiffin Simpson. I mean, you could throw Shane Robin, Kyle Milot, and Nolan Siegel's name in there as well. I mean, he's beaten all those drivers to a win. And some of those guys, like Dave Malukas, are talked about going to Penske and whatnot. I mean, and this guy is talked about being too dangerous. Yet, his racing style gets the win first. I mean, out of all these up-and-coming young guys, for him to get that first win first is insane to me. I mean, Christian Rasmussen was kind of nowhere all day. He was 10th, and then he had the penalty. Back to the pack. Drove his way through. And it looks like he's going to get a 6th or 7th place finish. That was on accident. I didn't mean to hit with the 6-7 joke. But that's just what he looked like he was going to get. And then all of a sudden, it's sunny outside. Like how it is right now, outside is looking out my window. Completely sunny. I think it was 70 to 80 degrees, somewhere in there. And it's a light sprinkle that lasts for 40 seconds. And they go under yellow. And Christian Rasmussen pits. And so too does pretty much everyone behind him. So 4th through 15th pits or whatever. And then the top 3 stay out, which were Alex Palou, Scott McLaughlin, and Joseph Newgarden. And Rasmussen, comes out and he just passes. He passed, I believe, both the McLarens. I know he passed his teammate, Alexander Rossi. He passed Scott McLaughlin. He passed Joseph Newgarden. He passed Alex Palou. And he passed a bunch of lap cars. I mean, he seriously, in the span of 30 laps, probably made 15 overtakes. I mean, it was crazy. I was screaming on the top of my lungs. I just wanted it to happen. When he got past Rossi, he's in 4th. Okay, now he's got Newgarden. And then 2 laps later, now he's got McLaughlin. 1.7 seconds to Palou. And then, in 3 laps, he passes him for the win. Insane. And his pass on Palou was hands down the best pass since Joseph Newgarden's pass on Pot of the Award at the 2024 Indy 500. That was incredible. And then his pass on Felix Rosenqvist, as he has a second lead on Palou to get a car in between them, couldn't put this piece of paper through. You could not put that piece of paper through him in the wall. Insane. I thought he crashed. The whole time I'm screaming to myself, he's going to crash. He's going to crash. He's going to crash. And he just never crashed. He won it by 1.9 seconds over Alex Palou. He led 16 laps today, and Alex Palou at 199. During this race, I said to myself, this is the first time all year I'm mad and bored that Alex Palou is just running away with the race. Because if that rain doesn't happen, let's face it, guys, Alex Palou wins that race by a country mile. But this is IndyCar. I don't know which racing god had that rain come down today, but it was, it was meant to be. Maybe, 10 years ago today, we unfortunately lost Justin Wilson. Maybe this was Justin Wilson, giving the IndyCar fans something to smile and be excited about. So maybe that was Justin's. I don't know, but that was just insane, honestly. Christian Rasmussen, so well deserved. Alex Palou, P2 after dominating for such a long day. Yeah, I don't really know what to say, but kind of glad he didn't win, but it's just whatever. Scott McLaughlin, I believe, with his first podium all year in 3rd. He led no laps, but just was there to get the podium today. Let me move my iPad closer so it's I'm looking at you, not. You know what I mean? Alexander Rossi in 4th. That's ECR's first time ever having both cars in the top 5. Honestly, a little disappointing that Rossi didn't have the pace Christian had to go get McLaughlin at least to make it ECR a double podium, but didn't quite have the pace Rasmussen had. And honestly, the reason why Rasmussen had the pace is because he's braver than everyone else. I mean, that guy is brave, and he's not afraid to make anyone mad. Pato Award in P5, just continuing his run of good form, earning his big bucks this year from McLaren. He's now, I think, pretty much locked for 2nd in the championship. Christian Lundgaard finishing 6th. That was, in my opinion, that was his best oval race of the year. Solid day. Joseph Newgarden in 7th, had that 3rd place, and then when Raschsman went by him, he got all loose, went down, looked like he had damage, but he did not. He recovered. He had a sketch 2 or 3 laps, ended up falling to 7th. So I think for how Newgarden's season's going, there's still something to be disappointed about from that race. But overall, I think you can be happy for Joseph Newgarden. 8th place, Dave Malukas. Maybe shoulda, coulda, woulda won this race. He pitted when all those other guys pitted, so who's to say that if he would have stayed up front, he would have pitted, who knows? But it wasn't his fault for going a lap down. He led 25 laps, and it was the first real 25 laps. Obviously, no one crashed in the first lap, so then it was yellow. But then they got racing lap like 9 or 10, and he takes the lead from Palou, and he leads 25 laps straight, and then Palou passes him back, and he stays in 2nd, and he's holding his own very, very well. And then he gets in the pits, and it's a 30-second pit stop. It was a wheel gun failure on the right or left front. I forget. It's one of the front tires. And they had this, like a 30-second stop. They had to throw the gun over the wall and get the other gun and take the tire off. So that was disappointing because if he would have been able to stay 2nd or 3rd, who knows? Maybe he makes the pit stop and wins this race. But another thing that's disappointing to me about the IndyCar restart is they weren't getting lap cars out of the way. Like on that last restart when everyone had pitted, I wanted all those cars between Palou and McLaughlin and Newgarden, and I forget who 4th was, but whoever was 3rd and 4th and so on back, just to get all the lap cars out of the way. And I wanted the lineup to be 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, I wanted that to be the racing order, but it wasn't. I mean, we still got Christian Raschsman the win, but if Raschsman loses by 4/10, then you can blame the lap cars and not getting lap cars out of the way. So that's just a random thought I had. You need to get all the lap cars out of the way for if you're going to have an exciting restart like that. I'm also glad this wasn't like a true IndyCar crapshoot where you had just a huge crash on the start, like where 6 cars get taken out. They raced hard, they raced clean. This is the most saves I've ever seen in an IndyCar weekend. And I know I'm going to use the word slow here, but Milwaukee is a slow oval. I mean, they're only doing like 150 miles an hour only. I mean, for like people like me and you, that would just be insane and quite frankly unimaginable speed that they're doing. But for them, like 150 is not that bad. Like they can lose the car and have one hand come off the wheel and they can save it. Like Christian Raschsman, quite frankly, should have crashed 5 times during that race. But what did he do? At one point they were just watching him just drive, and he was like that every corner, hands coming off the wheel. I mean, I don't know how Raschsman finished, but it's like what Hinchcliffe said on the broadcast. It was either going to be the biggest crash you've seen in about 10 years, or it was going to be a win. It was checkers or wreckers, and, well, he won. So that's all. I was kind of like just like a side rant. 9th place, Scott Dixon. 10th place, Marcus Armstrong. Led 8 laps. At one point, Meyershank left him out on a restart on old tires while everyone else on new tires. They kind of left him out there just to get swarmed. He got swarmed, made the pit stop, and recovered to 10th. Not a bad day. Colton Herta, 11th. He had that spin in qualifying, so he started in the back. Worked his way up to 5th at one point, and pitted for the new tires, but just did not get a good restart and kind of fell back. Kyle Kirkwood, 12th. Connor Daly in a very disappointing 13th. On the first lap, he went from 8th to 1st and should have been 3rd if it wasn't for Nolan Ziegel crashing because he would have passed McLaughlin. It looked like he had really good pace at the start, but just never did anything with it. Really disappointing for Connor Daly. 14th, Santino Ferrucci. Disappointing weekend for him. I expected him to be a contender. He didn't contend in the slightest. Rinus VeeKay, 15th. He looked like he had a top 10 car, but just didn't materialize at the end of the day for Rinus. 16th, Devlin. 17th, Louis Foster. Louis Foster led 1 lap. I think that was at the beginning of the race, and he just made a late pit stop. Robert Schwartzman, 18th. And Louis Foster is also the first car 1 lap down, so all these guys I'm naming are at least 1 lap down. Marcus Ericsson was 19th, 1 lap down. Kiffin Simpson in 20th, 1 lap down. And then Jacob Abel, 21st, 2 laps down. Felix Rosenquist, 22nd, 2 laps down. Felix crashed in qualifying yesterday and just never was competitive today, so a terrible weekend for Felix Rosenquist. 2 laps down was Stingray Robb. 3 laps down was Graham Rahal. He had that insane save at the second restart of the race where he completely slid his car and just saved it somehow. I don't know how he did it, but he did. Kyle Milot, 25th, had an engine failure, Will Power 26, crashing at lap 102, and Nolan Siegel 27th and last, crashing on the first lap. So that race was boring in some parts. I hate to admit it. I love Milwaukee. That wasn't as good as last year's 2 races, if we're being honest, in the middle stages. But the end stage, that was the best Milwaukee I've ever seen. Those last 30 laps might be the best 30 laps of the season so far, and that might be me exaggerating it because Christian Rasmussen won. I don't even consider myself a big Christian Rasmussen fan. It was just cool seeing a new guy charge through the field, make a pass on Palou, he did not lay off the horn. He just drove it, and I don't really think he cared if he crashed, honestly. So, yeah, but just the middle stage of that race needs to be fixed. I don't really know how you do that. Maybe you just don't have Alex Palou in the race, and who knows? But with that being said, I have exciting news I'm going to share with you guys right now in this video. I'm going to be at Nashville next weekend covering the race for you. So I'll have a preview video in my, filming it in my normal area, and then I'll have a Nashville vlog, a report, whatever we're going to call it, and I'll be at Nashville. So with that being said, I guess I'll see you here from the Nashville preview. So I can't say I'll see you at Nashville soon. So see you in the Nashville preview.